I get a motion to approve our agenda for the evening here?
I'll make
Or,
that motion.
okay,
I'll second.
all right. All those in favor say aye.
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 And all those opposed? Abstentions? All right. So we can begin this meeting here at 6:33 on Wednesday, September 6th. And let's see, so we're moving on to item number 3 for public input. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the commission that is relevant to the scope of authority of the City of Blue Lake that is not on the agenda. The commission may provide up to 15 minutes for this public input session. To assure that each individual presentation is heard, the commission may uniformly impose time limitations of 3 minutes to each individual presentation. The public will be given the opportunity to address items that are on the agenda at the time the commission takes up each specific agenda item. So is there anyone from the public that would like to provide some input? Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Kent Sawatsky, Sawatzy.
Beautiful, thank you.
And I'm a self-diagnosed level 10 functional autistic. When there's a problem, I like to fix it. It's called doing puzzles. That's what we call it. I did a puzzle. We had a problem with the RVs down on Taylor Way. I called Billy Hansel, had a 40-minute conversation with a whole bunch of things. That's our sheriff. And that was started at 8:15 Tuesday morning, and he had an email to me that it's been taken care of. It's been an ongoing problem forever, and it needed to be fixed. And that's what so I think Parks and Recs have a whole bunch of great things going on. I really want to go tour your facility. Back in the day, I donated time to do concrete work and work on site when they did a rehab there many, many years ago. But I want to see what's going on there. And I think it's a great thing. I think it seems to be really good. So that's not my complaint regarding what's falling in your purview. Something in the city is really broken, and it's our town square, our center of our city there. So how many of you folks here have seen what we call elevations? It's 4 viewpoints of what that's going to look like. If any of you seen them? Well, and if any of you put your hand up, I'd say, well, there aren't any. That's the problem. So what has happened was there were some very nice, and I have them here. I did a public record request, elevations done by Mrs. Pondy here, and that got thrown out. And instead of having a really nice rural town center, which is what I think we all would like, a rural atmosphere, the park's fantastic. There's grass, there's trees, everybody's happy with it. Instead of that, we have over 2/3 of the project is 6 inches deep stamped concrete. And this is great maybe if you're in LA or somewhere else. That's not what I think fits Blue Lake. So I'm saying that your input should be that we'd like to go back. And I unfortunately, I got the records as far as all the input. It's 30 years. But that was also thrown out of the input from people what they wanted. And one of the biggest things the children wanted, they wanted a water thing where, sprays water or something, have a place to play in water. And that isn't even included in the bid for the construction. The grant allocated $25,000 for it, but it's not there. Things are missing, and it was not designed by someone who is an architect or even someone who has architectural abilities. So many components are missing. So I'm asking you, as far as Parks and Rec, to ask to see what's there and ask to have a do-over and to have you folks have input. And maybe my input's wrong, but I talked to all kinds of community members out there. And unfortunately, the engineer's estimate was a little over $400,000 back in January of 2023. And the bids came in at 580, 550 or something like that, way over bid. And part of the reason is because it was a total redesign, a bunch of stuff we don't need. And I'm really big on people contributing. I offered to pay for a gazebo or something with our city manager 2 or 3 times. My mother passed, and I wanted to do roses garden, with trellises, and I would come it down and pay for it. Well, that wasn't included, and I also do concrete work, and there's a lot of us who would like to donate our time and be part of this process, rather than some contractor from the out of the area coming in and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is the kind of project I think we can do for very little. and it's the buy-in from the public. I don't know if you're part of the process or your kids come down and work on it, then I think you have an involvement and it's something that's right. So I'm just asking you to relook at that, ask questions, and get pictures and understand what's going on. It's not too late to fix this. Bids have not been awarded as far as I know, and I think it's part of your purview. Parks and Recs is a park. We want it to be the park that everybody asked for, not something that some engineer came up uh, with minimal skill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, same thing. So you can please state your name.
Lynch, Lynch.
Hi, everybody. I want to introduce myself. I'm a former council member. I was also a liaison for the Park and Recreation, and I have a love for the park just because it's a beautiful park. I've lived here for years and years. So what I wanted to do for you, I have a copy for one for each of you, and it's about the history of the park and how the park was donated land to the city of Blue Lake by some people with some regulations on how it was a contribution because they wanted to have a gravesite up at the Blue Lake Cemetery and have their gravesite be taken care of. So the exchange is the park property in exchange for the care of the gravesite up at Blue Lake Cemetery. And if you go up, it's on the right-hand side, and it's concrete. It has a wrought iron fence around it. So that was the agreement. So when I was on the council, and then also in the liaison, we had a discussion about the park and you know the donation of the park. And one of the things that has been bothering me lately is the arena, the horse arena. And I was looking at that, the plot map for the horse arena. The horse arena was part of this bequeath from the Chartons. And I don't think that that's really been clarified, that the horse arena is part of this area here, and then it was given to the city of Blue Lake. And one thing that I was looking at on the plot map and looking at the Humboldt County GIS mapping, the arena property, that piece of property butts up to Powers Creek. If you look on the GIS map, it says Davis Creek, but that was the former name, so it's Powers Creek. And I know there's going to be some construction with all the different projects, and I'd like to see just some clarification of where the property lines are for the horse arena, because there's going to be a lot of moving and shifting with all the building down there. At the industrial park, I'd just like to see that made clear on the property lines and any movement or fixing of the creek, the dredging of the creek, and up against the property. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else from the public that would like to have a comment? Okay. Well, thank you so much for your input. We really do appreciate hearing from you guys. So, all right. Let's see. Let's move on to item number 4, upcoming events.
So, our first event is a sponsorship from the Ottawa Watershed Council. They're doing a work party Saturday, September 9th. I believe that's a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. down on Monda Way. They are asking people to go meet right at the pedestrian bridge there if you're interested in being a part of that. We have our bingo night coming up September 16th, next Saturday for the Grange. Doors open at 6 p.m. and it goes until the games are finished. and the proceeds this time benefit the Blue Lake Museum. We have a newly formed BYOC Fest coming up in October. This is going to be a partnership with Low and Slow, the city, the Doghouse, and a few other local businesses in town. We're going to have the California Poppies and a few other local bands as well. BYOC is bring your own chair. So we're going to have live music, barbecue, and drinks in the park, and a few other leisure activities for people to enjoy. We also have our second annual Halloween block party coming up. We just put the event permit in for the Locker Bar in Mad River Brewing. It's also sponsored by the Hounds of Humboldt. That'll be October 21st, looking forward from 2 to 7 p.m. down on H Street. And lastly, we have the newly announced Blue Lake Holiday Market coming up at the brewery. This is November 4th, on Saturday, from 12 to 5. If you're interested in vending, please go on their Facebook or their website, and they should have more information there. A few other events in the park. We're hosting Hoptoberfest September 30th. More information will be posted on ours and their Facebook page and around town. The Halloween trick or treat, we're going to be meeting with the school to discuss that. I'm thinking we're looking at possibly, Jen can maybe chime in, October 20th or 27th, one of those Fridays.
Yeah, I think the 27th.
Yeah, the 27th. And we're planning on ending that with a dance at Crush Hall for the young kiddos, middle school aged. Lastly, we have the Medieval Festival also coming up October 7th and 8th. And Perigo Park, the horse arena and tennis court area. That's what I got.
Right. Sounds like a good list of events.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there another a mountain bike event going on this weekend as well?
There is. We have the Enduro coming up this Friday. I believe is their awards ceremony, and Saturday is the race throughout our trails over there, and they'll be in our park throughout the day on Friday.
Are they having are they having music on Friday on Saturday night at the park?
I haven't heard anything about music, so they'll be camping down on Taylor and doing what they normally do.
So they're doing the awards on Friday and the races on Saturday?
I think I'll have to look. They booked out both days for the park during the afternoon time.
For Perigo Park?
Perigo Park, yeah.
You said your trail, is that the what Simpson you're talking about, or is that in town?
It's on Simpson.
There you go. Or Green
I
Bay.
have a bunch of students who are a teacher, and a bunch of my students are in the race. It's up over by Hatchery Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Our local track.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Any other questions? Okay. Moving on. Sure.
For the medieval festival, Courage, I was kind of, for the application for the permit, for the festival, is that done through our planning commission or use permit?
It's done through the Parks and Rec. They go and fill out a special event permit, and then it goes to the fire chief, myself, Glenn, and I believe the police department, city manager.
Okay, I was curious because it's under the Humboldt County planning and building. I saw it under, I got really confused, I didn't know why it was there.
I'd have to take a look maybe later at that, but normally it's just a special event permit to my understanding, and then there's ABC permits and whatnot.
And then through Coastal Grove Charge.
Coastal Grove, there may be additional precautions because they have the jousting and live animals there and stuff. So that might be through the county, but honestly, I wouldn't.
It says a temporary event permission preparation potentially hazardous food deaths.
I'd have to take a closer look. I don't quite know what you're referring to.
Does that take place down at the arena?
Yeah.
So it's relevant to this thing brought to my attention by Aaron McClure that you have a gate down there that's extremely hazardous, and you might want to, person there might want to make a $300 gate rather than having a major mishap down there. So that's I try to avoid litigation. That's one of
Thank
see
you.
that line.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions about upcoming events?
I have a question. For the this race this weekend, so people camp out on the land, and it's the city's land they're camping on.
Taylor Way, along there, I believe.
And does the city let them camp there for free, or how does it work?
It gets written into their facility agreement, and then we'll have Public Works mow the area
Gotcha.
down there.
They're using part of our they're using our parking lot for registration and everything as well, and parking
Cool.
as well.
Okay. Excellent. Let's move on to agenda or item number 5 for approving the minutes. And it looks like we've got 3 sets there from May 3rd, June 7th, and June 21st. Did y'all need a minute to look through or before we approve those?
I looked at them earlier.
Yeah.
All right. So we could probably, unless anybody saw any corrections, we can probably just approve them all in one bulk. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
And second.
Sure. A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that's unanimous. So minutes are approved. All right, item number 6, fall and holiday programming and fundraising.
This was thrown in there. We've been asked by a few people in the community if we were going to do a holiday market. I know the Grange often does one. People have asked to do one in Crush Hall. I see the breweries doing one as well. And then some other things like the tree lighting, the trick or treat. I just wanted to get the commission's perspective on how we could collaborate with other businesses and not step on anyone's toes with these types of things. Yeah.
So Del Arte is going to be doing our holiday show, starting in November, and then it's going to run through December. I think it would be really cool if we could incorporate one of the already in process events with the opening of that show, just to maybe draw some more people in.
Absolutely.
And I know that the tree lighting happens right across the street from us, so I think we would be more than happy to extend anything that's happening in that park to our yard as well.
And where did you say that markets are? Mad River, and where's the third?
Mad River's having one. Where is it? November 4th.
Uh-huh.
And we have our horse story tour, which takes place in December. That traditionally has a little market here. And then people have asked for possibly a winter market in Prosh Hall or some. We used to do those Halloween indoor carnivals.
Right.
I don't know if that would go with a dance, maybe, or a different type of event.
So are we thinking the market is just a one-day event, or is like, I know when we had it in your Emporium, it was more than, was it only one day, or is it?
I don't think I was in the area where they had it.
Okay.
They used it, so
Yeah. No,
Like a month.
it did. That's correct. Yeah, you went for one.
for white wine.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if like it was gonna be like that or just one day.
I think it could be either with Prosh. A lot of the vendors have been kind of the handmade items or local artisans that want an opportunity to catch some of that holiday gift shopping.
I think it would be important too to look at what the other craft fairs are going on in the area so we're not competing because it's hard to draw. A lot of the
Right.
artisans will travel from, fair to fair.
Mm-hmm.
And you really need a local shopper picture too, because, it depends on what goals of the folks that want to sell, but it's a tremendous amount of work to have all your stuff somewhere set up booth, and be there all day or all weekend, and you really need hundreds of people coming through to shop in order to make that worth your time.
It sounds like you're doing that parallel with other events like we talked about last time. But I did speak to those people down there the last couple of them, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
If something's broken, I can't fix it.
Absolutely.
Is the horse night is usually later in December, isn't it? I recall it seems to be around.
December 20th or so.
Yeah, so that might
18th.
be kind of late but maybe not. Maybe that would be the draw.
Mm-hmm.
Something to consider.
Yep.
Last minute shopper kind of thing.
Last year we did 3 weeks, and it was like myself trying to put it on. The first week was kind of ornament decorating, which was fine. We got maybe 50 to 100 families that came out and did a few apiece. The next week was something in town square, like it wasn't the tree lighting. That was okay. It was kind of a waste of time, and I think it could have been combined with like the gift exchange that was at the Grange. I think Jen put that on where families could trade different toys. Trying to collaborate with events like that and maybe include vendors, make it a bigger deal.
I would highly encourage too bringing in live live music for the events and really, really playing up the live music because that's like just from my experience around Humboldt working these different events, that's what's bringing people in is the shows and the market is there also.
Food.
And the
Yeah.
food.
People like food.
Call me news.
If there's any way we could incorporate it to be somewhat like Taste of the Holidays, I don't know if anybody's attended that, to where you have food vendors there to just more to serve, but more so to display their goods, saying, "Hey, we do catering for Christmas events, things like that." That would draw a lot of people in for that as well.
There's also an event that I kind of threw out. It was an idea that I had just today because we were working on the food court. But I think it would be really cool. And granted, we don't have a solid time frame on it yet. But I think it would be really cool if we could do a grand opening and maybe do like a beer and wine fest that could be a fundraiser for Del Arte as well as something that we can spread to a wider audience. And I think it'd be a really cool way to introduce that space to the community and to Humboldt.
Do you see that playing into later, like a holiday evening, like after tree lighting, or?
I was thinking we should, weather permitting, right? So I think if it's in the winter, we probably want to do it as like an afternoon into evening, but maybe not late night kind of event.
Tell us about what you're talking about.
Oh, so Del Arte is building a food truck food court right now. It's in that side yard there's like right across the street from the logger. So the part of the yard that you can see from the logger that's covered in plastic right now. So because the food trucks that go to the logger have been parking illegally on the street for such a long time, we're working with the city to develop a space where 3 food trucks can theoretically park at a time. I think on a regular basis we're going to be shooting for less so that we can make the promise of more money to each individual person who books at a time. But it'll also give us a space to have food truck hookups, electrical hookups, anything that a food truck is going to need, and a more formal place for people to vent food right across the street from the logger, and bring in more options, have a place for food trucks to come once or twice a week, and more food options for Blue Lake. That's our big goal. Yes. And then we're going to have certain paved areas where we're gonna lay paving stones for the parking spaces.
Will that be permeable paving stones or something of that nature when the water actually goes through, or those? Anyway, you may not be familiar with it. That trend to let the water go back to Mother Nature rather than paving and turning it into a parking lot. If you have the option, that's again the option I like to see on anything we do on any of your things, rather than large concrete things, have something that's permeable. They have all kinds of fantastic ways to do that. Should be designed and engineered by architects and engineers. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen.
What we're shooting for is to not actually pave with concrete, but to use paving stones that could be removed if they need to be removed, or could be movable potentially. Because also, I don't want to pave over our nice yard. I like it.
I believe they're like 3 or 4 feet by 4. They're smaller sizes too, but the idea was to kind of just create them with that.
I'm sorry I didn't get you those measurements today.
That's fine. We got it started. But that was kind of the fall and holiday programming discussion. I wanted some feedback from you and the community of what we'd be looking for this year. I've had the idea too. I don't know how people feel about possibly looking at those rentable ice rinks that you could put either in the park or tractor rides along the levee, that type of thing, like a bigger holiday draw to bring people out to Blue Lake, spend their money, leave. But I don't know if that's necessarily what people want to take kind of a holiday destination.
Ice rink, yes, please.
I think that would be a potentially really big draw for the city if you got one of the moved ice rinks.
Fortuna used to have one in Runner Park. They've stopped the last 4 or 5 years.
I think they stopped it because of COVID.
Yeah.
But prior to COVID, it was really popular. A lot of people were going from here, Blue Lake, were going out there.
Mm-hmm.
We take my kids down to it. I didn't want to, but I had to because they really wanted to go, so I'm sure it would be a popular draw.
The school would be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
All the schools would be.
But are you talking like Christie did they had a tracker and the object actually had things where they go, but I don't know if they still have leaves or how.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I would actually I tried to be Jeff once about it. I would like donate my time and my tractor and trailer.
That would be awesome.
Some straw to throw on it. And do hay rides.
Do you have a big trailer? What's your trailer?
Yeah, a 16-foot flatbed.
It's flat.
Yeah.
I just wonder if because we are Blue Lake and, horses are the theme, a big theme out here, we need to see if we could do like a horse-drawn carriage, but cleanup I know would be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Can't do those New York poop bags that hang under their butts.
I don't know. Perhaps we could, but that would be a neat draw.
Yeah.
Unique that, different.
Bettina Iper, who does the Medieval Festival, her and I were building a sleigh last year. We didn't quite get it ready in time, but to take people, either hitch it to a lawnmower or a smaller tractor, and about 4 people can sit in this holiday sleigh. And it should be ready this year, I'm hoping, but a fall version, a tractor would be awesome. Figuring out who has the resources to make it happen, and whether it's like a one-time weekend or series of days. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think that the idea about the music's a really good idea, and it'd be cool to have like some holiday themed music. Once again, from the perspective of little kids. But I think like I love the horse stories they do down here, and then last year it was really fun over here. They had the food and stuff, but it seemed like it could be expanded a little bit. If I remember right, there was only one. Was it just Los Gallos or Gallos?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 food vendors.
Yeah, so it might be cool to like expand it and like if you could have music going, playing Christmas themed music, I think it'd be really fun for families. And then also, I think we've talked about this before, and I forget what the answer was, but and depending on people's perspective, but alcohol would also be fun for a Christmas thing. I don't know, can we serve alcohol, something like that? Do we want to serve alcohol, something like that?
Always yes.
I thought they did I thought there was spiced rum, hot spiced rum last year.
Yeah, mold
Yeah.
something. And wine. But I think it's as long as a third party does it, they carry the liability, then it's okay.
More alcohol at events.
With the ice rink, I know at least with roller skating, we have to be super strict, no alcohol, so that would probably be a no,
Right.
definite no. But tractor rides, granted the parents aren't buying the tractor wheel, that should be okay, or like a holiday fest.
Where were you thinking of the rink? In the baseball field, or what were you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking it depends how we would do it. We could either have the tractor rides pick up at the rink itself or incorporate a larger footprint of the city and maybe have different things going on.
What about the rink? Where were you thinking?
Ice skating rink.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it would go right in the grass, to be honest with you, but then how would it impact the crowd?
Or where?
Which location?
Um,
There's a lot of grass in Blue Lake.
There is. It depends if it kills the grass. I would say we want to keep it off of our fields and maybe do it on that infield. If there's leaking with the ice, I think it's fake ice, but if it leaks, then that would ruin our red rock sand. So it's kind of
Yeah, I was just thinking the same.
that would be great
It's just
too.
it'll probably have to be raked to get the big sharp rocks out.
Or maybe you could do
Awesome.
package deals. Get picked up by the sleigh. Get a sleigh ride to the ice skating rink.
Yeah,
That's
good.
pretty
That's
cool.
a large bar.
Yeah, yeah. And then have a food truck there, and I mean, that could be a thing.
Because we could incorporate too the brewery and Jewel and whoever else is down there to kind of have things going on.
Yeah, that's really cool. That could be a thing.
I think Taylor Ray would be a great idea, depending on how the neighbors down there feel about it too.
Right. I don't think there'd be an issue with the commercial neighbors.
People in the RVs can't whine anymore, so that's
Right. Right.
So you said it's fake ice, so it's not actually frozen water, it's something else?
There's two options. Most of them are fake. Looks like there's the fake panels that are plastic panels, and they have some kind of interlocking system. I'm not quite sure how the blades work on that. They say it's as authentic as real ice skating. I don't know about that. The second is a fake ice. I wouldn't call it like a resin texture, but something they pour and it hardens, and then there's a dissolvent when you're done with it. I don't know if that leaks. And then the third is the full-on ice rink that requires refrigeration and would hike our electrical bill up quite a bit.
What's the cost of the city and something like that?
I depends on I think the rental. There was a few places that do it in NorCal. They bring you the whole system, and they had different options and rink sizes. Just be looking more into it and seeing what works with our space. But it could be soon enough that if it's something people wanted to look into this year, getting done, it could be a huge fun and revenue generator for families.
I think it would be a neat thing.
Do we get, and I could be getting out of our purview, but do we get any help on something like that? If it was Ontario, I think that'd be a huge boom to the brewery. Do they, or the casino, do they ever help with stuff like that, or is this is completely separate from anything they would be helping towards or sponsoring?
I wouldn't say we've had any help. We've had donations of, where they've given us pitchers or kegs to sell for profit and that type of thing. But if they wanted to look at possibly pitching in for the profit or cost of the rink itself or operating it on days or times that our staff wouldn't be able to be there, that could be an option.
Like for instance, the Fly Infinity, that's the Mad River one. They're sponsoring that event. Not that one. But
Oh, I'm a little unclear. I just did the permit for them. I know it's
That's the block party that Yahida and Hallie.
yeah at the logger, but I think they're serving Mad River beer there as
not
well.
really a city event; it's a private event.
Yeah,
Okay.
open to the public, but
Right. Is it like if I'm just thinking like something like the ice rink or something like that? If you attached the name of somebody like Mad River or another business, I think at that point then we would want to have a large donation or contribution towards the whole thing for them to attach their name to it.
Yeah, they'd probably be into, having like a banner or something around it. I've seen that at those rinks before too, where they've had their banners or flyers
the
or
base, yeah.
sponsorships.
yeah, sponsored by.
I was gonna say, I was a figure skater for a really long time, and like big money sponsors were a really, really big part of keeping the ice rinks going, and it would just be their name really, really big somewhere on the rink. And sponsorships, I mean, if we want to do something like that, I think sponsorships would be necessary. If we want to make any money on that, sponsorships would be necessary.
It could be huge to chip away at the total cost of everything, and you could line the whole thing with banners.
I don't know if that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Matter obviously might not be interested. Who knows? But if they were, I've done things before where you go to it, you buy the tickets for the kids, and then you get the tickets back. That's like 25% off of food or 20 or 10.
Like a
whatever.
coupon on the
Mhm.
back.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
buy your ticket to go
Mhm.
skate, and then that incentivizes you to go buy Bill's barbecue, and then I don't know, it seems like that would be. I think that's a really good idea. 'Cause like I said, I would drive all the way down Fortuna's, and I didn't like it that much because it was just isolated. There's nothing around it to do. It's just kind of the kids get to skate, but the kids liked it so much we could do it anyways.
Mhm.
I think it's a good idea.
And one thing is, I highly recommend you do your advertising and advertise the heck out of it if you have a budget for that. Because that's where you're mentioning the sponsors, and that's where they get their name out there. Because just having a banner, that's only the people that see it. Whereas the advertising to the general public, because they hear their name out there, they like that.
Mhm.
And I believe the city has a budget for that they advertise and they do with different vendors in town, like Jewel Distillery. I think isn't there a city like radio?
There's the radio stuff with Eureka Radio. There's the online social media, Google Business ads. The apps are kind of changing as we go. The physical ads too. Cool. Well, this I could bring back more information for the next meeting of
But
updates.
let's talk about advertising. There's also always billboards available just south of Eureka. Like always. And a lot of people drive through there.
That would be a great way to advertise the rink.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or input for the, I guess we were on item 6, fall and holiday programming? Okay. Then item number 7, community survey.
Moving to this handout, they're available over here for the public. I believe there's a few. This is our community survey from 2018 or 2019 when Mr. Saylor was still here. I thought we should do this back because I'm really curious as director what our community wants to see as far as our programming and drop-in stuff go, events and overall spaces. I'll have to admit I've seen an uptick in kind of some vandalism and just graffiti in the park, and I'd like to really start cleaning that up and seeing what other things people are seeing that my eyes just aren't catching around town, and like the Horse Arena Gate per se. So here's some of the questions. This was the revised, most current copy I could find in our system. And I figured we could look through it and see if there's other things we could add or if we put out the same survey. The first question, I'll go ahead and just read them out. Overall, are the parks, playground, open space, trails, programs, and athletic/school fields meeting the needs of our community? And circle the corresponding letter from a 1 to 5 scale. Question number 2, please rank the following facilities found around Blue Lake and how they meet your recreation needs. And you can see a list of all our facilities there. Number 3, which, if any, of the following facilities would you like to see provided in Blue Lake? Check all that apply. There's a few of these that have since been added or improved upon, so we could possibly take those out. Number 4, which of the following funding mechanisms would your household be willing to support for additional facilities and activities? And those look like different types of tax or special campaigns or fundraisers. Number 5, what organized programs and/or league sports have you participated in or would like to participate in? And number 6, please tell us any additional comments you have relative to the City of Blue Lake's parks and recreation opportunities.
I think this is a good starting point. But you had mentioned that you wanted to see, what if you're missing something? And the thing is about question, for example, question 1, it says, are these things meeting the needs of the community, but it doesn't really state why. So maybe put a why kind of open-ended response underneath of that. And maybe the same for number 2, you could add some sort of commentary on there regarding, for anything ranked below average, could you state why? Or likewise, the other end of it, if something's really working for you, what is it about that that's working for you? And that gives you a little more information beyond what is or isn't working.
Right.
It's
Right.
really the idea of this is to get community concerned or what the community's happy with and what they're concerned with.
Pretty much see where we could improve upon or focus on.
Once again, I don't know if it's our purview, but like the litter by the rivers and stuff is something that I feel like has increased in the last I don't know 5-10 years. So I don't know if that's something we could add as just the upkeep of public spaces. Seem to be getting littered pretty heavily.
I agree. The dumpsters right behind us have been pretty bad for the last week.
Mm-hmm.
There's just looking out there right now. There's trash flowing out of them right now.
Yeah, we've had people been pulling off for trying to get their trash in there.
Yeah. Again, the motorhomes
Yeah,
are over there. They've been parked right here too.
that could be a question. Upkeep of our spaces. Kind of how would you rate or
Yeah.
where do you see the problems at?
Is the city responsible for like the trash removal and stuff, like out past the bridge a little ways? Does the city clean that up, or who? So I know I see collections out there, and just people are cleaning it. Who does that?
To my understanding, I may be wrong, but everything past the bridge is the county's jurisdiction.
It's county.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how Marty out there cleaning up the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've also had discussion in years past about, what to do with that space by the bridge. I know that there was a private owner who was talking about maybe giving easement. I don't know what happened to that because COVID hit after we had those discussions, but we're talking about trying to open up something and working more with those private landowners.
Are you talking about the other side of the bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as I know, after COVID, it kind of
We've identified a property or two that's rather large parcels that there are a large amount of transients going through the area and presumably doing illegal things. There's a lot of calls through law enforcement there. The county has been working with us to see if we could acquire those properties through our Parks and Rec program, which would be huge because it's a lot of acres, more than what we have now. And possibly developing that into some recreational land and trails, get more eyes out there. I think it's the logistical standpoint of we have really like a team of 3 or 4 of us coordinators or supervisors, and then the roller rink staff. How do we move into that type of growth? But the conversation is still being had, to my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, as that develops, I think that will help mitigate some of those issues by the river, at least.
Absolutely. Any other things from the commission?
I think that's it on my end.
Was the public have any comments or additions to the survey?
I did, probably the process that, people talk to me a lot, they complain they don't come here. And, I had one person down at the dog park because the dog reaction to baseball and things seemed to be a little bit incompatible. And I don't know whether that you think that to be true, just somebody mentioned that to me. And that's somebody who puts on the baseball game tournament. And then I have a concern regarding the location of where you're putting in the facility. A fantastic idea for the kids for the bike park. I think things like that always need to be as close to the eyes. And in other words, somewhere where people here can look out, you guys can look out and see what's going on. I mean, you're going to have kids out there, unsupervised, kids from the area. It could be an attractive nuisance, in my opinion. And to me, it's a little bit maybe more appropriate that the dog park was at that location where all the people go with their dogs to go to the trails. That it's probably too late for that, but as far as planning goes, I've just always had a concern. Same as if we have a city bathroom, it should be. I don't feel up there in the city center thing. It needs to be down here where you can watch it. It's open 24/7, 365. And again, you're going to have the same people with the RVs coming down and using that facility or other people that nature. And I just like to see eyes on, where you guys who are working here can see what's going on. If they're what I call an attractive nuisance or potential problems. That's my call.
Thank you, Ken.
From what I understand, the bike park is, I thought it was going to be designed to attract out of area bike mountain bikers to use that facility for mountain biking and more so than like a kid's track. That's what I understood, but I could be wrong.
Usually they have deliverables, and if you mention it's for kids or it's for mountain bikers, you pretty well have to deliver. So I didn't, I don't know. I haven't checked into that. So
Is Danco still developing next to where that's going in?
It could,
They are.
yes.
So it's okay.
Potentially if it goes through.
That would take care of eyes because right when there's gonna be a sizable development next to where that goes if that happens.
Hmm. Some
Somewhere
retail around there.
way before that.
Okay.
Well, it's eyes, but it's not city employee eyes.
Mhm.
That's what Kevin's getting at.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're gonna have something that, could potentially be, used heavily or possibly misused at times,
Right.
it's wise to have that. We're city staff on.
yeah, I don't know. It's like your clothing. I mean, are you clothed at daylight and it opens up? I mean, those are all questions. So I haven't seen the design for it. I'm gonna probably do it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just so I can understand.
Yeah. I think with the bike park too, I was given Fortuna's rules and regulations and a few other local parks of kind of how they do their sign. But I think it'd be best to have kind of an open community meeting about the bike park and see what are the hours people would want to see. Is it the dawn to dusk or a specific time and so forth. Because some of the rules are lenient in parks and others are really strict by the book. And then two, enforcement, because it'll create a whole new role within our staff to have that facility cared for and then monitored routinely with the liability there. No, I wish.
What
I
about
wish.
I know that the sheriff's department, they still have their substation here. Maybe that can become part of,
Mm-hmm.
their regular routine, just to check in on that.
Yeah.
Was it our jurisdiction to assign park hours and whatnot? If like you say the bike park closes at sunset, is that us or is that city council?
I believe that would be us. I know for the dog park sign, I wrote that and got it printed locally, and the same with the garden and the rink type of stuff.
Okay.
It's always, I think, good to bring it to the commission to kind of get approval from you guys. But we should be the ones.
That goes, I'm your council liaison, and, I think the council kind of looks to the commissions for advice. You guys look into these things more deeply. You're more involved than we are in all of these types of things, right? So we're always looking to the councils or commissions to, to look at
Mhm.
an issue and make a recommendation. Depending on what it is, we may or may not be.
Something that would be, let's say, needing to be approved by council is if you guys decided there has to be an ordinance or that you have to wear a helmet at the bike park, and it's a law per se, or you're gonna get cited. That would be something that would probably go to council to get approved. So it'd be more than just something on the rules sign, but we could. I believe so. Yeah. It would be added to the code and therefore a little more formal than just a rules sign. So that's what I got there.
All right. Can I ask a question about survey? About developing this a little further and then having it like mails to everybody in town?
I'd like to somehow get it attached to the water bill or mailed out to our payees. It looked like the last one we didn't get a great response, and it's just how it is posting a PDF on the website or something. But
I feel like they also had, maybe I'm thinking of a different survey, but perhaps they had people like at Murphy's. There was a drop box at Murphy's where you could drop the survey. Maybe I'm
that would be
misremembering, but
really good.
it's an idea.
Yeah.
And
About these meetings being televised now, you can make a shameless plea and advertise every meeting, please.
Right.
Get one that goes out. So
Yeah.
yeah. And does blast, I mean, perhaps maybe making a link on a Google form as well
Mm-hmm.
and being able to blast out on Facebook and, people will be on that and get it done right away.
I think that sounds good. The Google form and mailing out should hopefully hit, and Murphy's, if they're willing to have a Dropbox there, hit a good portion of people.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So item number 8, city manager and staff report. Parks and Rec, general programming.
Yes. We're going ahead and installing a lot of the lights and sound baffling panels in Prosh Hall right now. We're having the kitchen getting done. They had the floor drilled out for our sink prepping and plumbing this last week, which was really great. We're working with the school, obviously, in some fall programming and Bill with that BYOC Fest, and we're looking at hosting a grand reopening sometime in October to showcase all of our new lights and additions. And Darcy's going to be getting some string lights in the trees here at the park to be able to light that up during the winter.
It'll be good to brighten it up.
It'll be nice for sure. Yeah, other than that, kind of within skating, we're going to be moving Cher's Bowman. She's been our skate coordinator more towards an event coordinator role because having these new infrastructure is going to give us a huge capacity to book larger events. And we're going to split that skate coordinator role kind of between our 3 skate supervisors to spread out the responsibilities a little more with our program growing at the rate it's been. And yeah.
So is the rig closed right now?
No, it's open. We just have a scissor lift in the corner that we cone off and light up. That's been fun.
Awesome.
Oh, and we'll be starting some pre-construction on the bike park. There's a hard date. I think it's October 15th. That wet dirt needs to be all done and no more moving. So we're trying to get dirt piles moved in the coming weeks to at least get a rough dirt track out there so people can start to see the vision, and we can use shovels from there to kind of move it around and shape it.
Hey, can I rewind for 1 second? Sorry, I bounced around my head. When you mentioned that Darcy's stringing that up, I don't know if she's planning on being, well, I know she's planning on being part of the horse Christmas thing. It would be cool to block. I don't know if you could like block the street too. Because one of the things I was thinking about the Christmas thing, it seemed kind of like constrained up here on this piece of cement. If we could like expand it out and block the street down to like the first houses,
Okay.
and then those houses along that street, we could go up. People couldn't come down, so it kind of create more of a part here where people could move freely instead of being like kind of slammed in on the spot.
Are you talking going that way
Well, maybe
or this way?
if you had both ways, that way there's no cars and it's just no horse thing and the tractor hauling people, and then you could block those roads off.
Go to the end of the park and block it off right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can even, with food vendors, put them down that way. That way it can draw people from that end where people are going to normally be down to that end. That way you get a little bit more
Okay.
rotation of people.
Kind of in front of the community garden area, you're
Yeah.
thinking? Okay, cool. I know Bettina wants to expand it because we were busting at the seams last year, so that would be good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So can I ask, Emily, you know about the funding for the bike park? Christina, some months ago there was possibly apply for a.
That'd be our Clean California grant. I don't know where that stands. Mandy was the one that had got that in.
Do you know anything about funding this currently here for Crash Hall right now?
Our state parks per capita? Yeah, that was our state parks per capita grant. I submitted. We have a few going on right now. We have an EDA grant going on. That was submitted for our first drawdown. That's for the RV park and campground. And then we have our per capita for Prosh, which we're trying to finish up and use the remaining funds because we have the new roof coming, hopefully. And from there, the per capita is Perigo Park, the horse arena, tennis court area, and then Prosh Hall inside. There's 3 different sections to the grant. Yeah, state parks per capita. And I believe 278 around there. And a lot of our match is in kind, luckily with labor, because we're the ones installing a lot of these new fixtures and stuff. So it works out well for us.
And we have a question for the Red Cross disaster training. Is the park involved in facilitating that? I know there was money that was given to Trash Hall for the kitchen, wasn't it?
For the Red Cross?
Well, for disasters. The kitchen disaster preparedness somehow. I just kind of remember that.
Yeah. We were contacted by the Red Cross, asking if we would be interested in becoming an emergency shelter. We are waiting for them to kind of come out and look at the space. I don't know if that necessarily brings money, but I know talking with Mandy that would open us up to different funding possibilities being designated as a shelter. Whether or not that's, I'd have to look. If the agreement was executed on both sides. I haven't seen it come back from their end.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
I'm curious what happened to the cornhole.
Oh,
Did it happen?
it did not. We were either out of town or ill. So ideally it'd be directed to something else. Better planning and making sure we're
Maybe
here.
part of the winter holiday
Yeah,
event. We could
absolutely.
have a winter cornhole. Why not?
And the last time I believe we met, we discussed that we really it was the planning we didn't have enough time to really plan that correct. So we were kind of looking towards next spring and starting way earlier for next summer. Uh, Starting earlier so we can get a little more advertising in and more volunteers and just coordinate a lot better. It was a great idea, but we just didn't have the time to. It was too short of a notice to get it to really make it happen.
Right.
That snow hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good participation.
Just saying.
I mean, I don't know weather depending again, but you know, if you wanted to do the holiday market, try to have a tournament
Yeah.
or a holiday market, and,
Mhm.
you know, all of it rolled into one.
Yeah, with the ice rink and everything, that if people coming out with like shop, let's skate, let's have a tournament.
That's when you get your beer for a while.
You know, you know, some of the summer stuff.
Work here.
Yeah. Yeah. Snow hole. World's first event.
Great.
All right. So it sounds like we're finishing up with 8 there. So number 9, announcements.
None that I know of. Just our next meeting will be first Wednesday of October on the 4th, 6:30.
Okay, so anything else for the greater good before we
But you're gonna have 2 meetings in a row back where they offset each other.
I think, this is my city council person side talking, but I think people would love to see, I know I would love to see what's funding all of the stuff that we do for our Parks and Rec. I think that piece, I think people love it when, you know, they see stuff happening. But there's always that question about where the money's coming. And I think that anytime you can, show that, you know, whether you post here in the park or on a bulletin board or, you know, the same item in multiple places, I think people really appreciate that, you know.
And it's bragging about the good job writing grants to get the money. You might as well brag it out to a great too, but
it could be as easy as a proudly funded by
Right, right. You know, there's a lot of question about, you know, everybody's
always wondering, well, shoot, how come we can have a new kitchen in Crash Hall, but we can't do X, Y, or Z? Everybody has their own priorities, right? So some people maybe are a little upset that they're not seeing something that they want, but that they see something else happening. So, I mean, it just never hurts to explain to folks where your kids are coming from and how they're being funded. I think it's kind of a feel good issue all over. The explanation, just I think for the most part it's
Clarity.
clarity and it's really well received. People like to know. And basically it's fine. I mean, who doesn't love a grant, right? So I think people really get behind that and appreciate the work that's going into it, and it's always more information on.
Go ahead.
I was reading an article, it's 1986. I wasn't here in 86. I came back to 88. Anyway, you moved away, came back, moved away, came back. Anyway. So there was a problem with the insurance in 86, and everything got shut down. There was some problem in California with the insurance agencies, and so the liability insurance for the park, they couldn't get it. And they had to shutter everything and not allow anybody in the basketball or any of the area here. So insurance for me always comes to mind on the park and the facilities and the liability, say the skate park or the bike park or anything like that could affect the park as far as liability. It's important to make sure that that's taken care of.
Thank goodness for the municipal insurance pools that they came up to fix the problem. And that's been fantastic for everybody. We can look at that, spread our liability on the other one. So that's.
But Emily, I recall you saying something about the jump house that you guys had at the Medieval Festival last year. Like your insurance company said you can't do that again.
Yeah, different jurisdiction must have had an incident with the bounce house and was axed from our coverage. I don't know if I've heard cities say water slides are slightly different or certain inflatable globes where people can walk in and there's kind of like balloons that fly around and it's a wind tunnel. So we might look at those and ask our insurance.
Does the park have, are you guys going to do an event at the Medieval Festival?
We were asked to do the bounce house. I told her with our insurance right now it's not possible, but if we can get a sponsor, then it would be fine if they carried the liability on that. It worked out well. We had about 600 kids or so, and they paid $5 a piece for an all-day bounce, and it worked good. So we'll see.
On future agenda items, I know we missed a few meetings. I'm not going to be here October 4th. If we could move it, I would love to attend, but I have work engagement that week. If we could move it the following week, I would be here, but I don't know if we're going to have a quorum or not. It seems that we've had a hard time getting a quorum.
I don't know if we need a technical motion for that.
Tony,
I think we do need a technical motion. So we could move to schedule the meeting for the week later, which would be
the 11th.
the 11th. Yeah.
I make a motion to move the meeting to October 11th.
Okay. Anybody?
Yeah.
Is that a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
That's not a conflict that will come through with the other.
I don't believe. I think Arts and Heritage is the third Wednesday. Gosh. We should be good in here.
Man, what you anyway, you got the quorum they go. So.
I want to make make sure that calendar gets put out. Maybe
The date change.
Okay. All right. So if that sounds like that's all she wrote for the evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn this week's edition?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
So much.